I can tell that story. Yeah, I really don't tell that story too much because I have a hard time telling it. But I can hardly tell that particular, the story of that particular night without, saying something about what led up to it. I mean, it was a crazy life. It was a crazy life. Drugs, alcohol, lots of violence, lots of crazy friends, time in jail, hospitalized a couple times for alcoholism, drug overdoses, and so. I went to an AA meeting. Oh, I was probably 30 years old, and I liked what I'd heard, and what really kind of turned me off was when talking about God. I mean, that's pretty much the main focus in AA is acceptance in a power greater than yourself. And so I hung around and attended meetings and it was more of a social club. It became kind of a social club. It was a place to go and hang out without drinking, hang out with other drunks without drinking. And so that lasted for a couple of years. And there's some steps to take, that are involved in AA. Then I was avoiding the steps, and I was just kind of going through the motions, and you go and you hear other people talk, and they say some really good things, and things that you think other people want to hear, and so I would parrot these things at meetings, and so by all outward appearances, I would, to somebody that didn't know any better, they would think that I had it together, knew what I was talking about. So as you can imagine, that doesn't last long. Yeah, and so, but it did last for a couple of years, and so I, during the recession in the early '80s, there was no work, so I decided to go back to school. So I went down to Southern Oregon and started going to school down there, and so I'd been sober for a couple of years, and I'd been running, and I was an avid runner, and I was running all the local races, Portland Marathon, and so I was physically in really good shape, but my spiritual house was in no way any kind of order, and so that leads and led to me drinking again. I ran into a guy that had some cocaine, and so that was it. That started another spree. And I guess I drank and used for about a month, and so I was just I was after a night of insanity and making a complete fool out of myself at a party. I felt real. I woke up in the morning. I felt really bad the whole day, and I was just sick, and I was sick in my heart. Sorry. I was sick in my soul, and I was sick in my mind, and so it says in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says we stood at the turning point, and we we ask the question, you know, what there is God or there is not. There's you know, there's either God was or he wasn't. You know, either God is everything or he's nothing. You know, either life is beautiful or it means nothing and goes nowhere. And then it said, you know, what is our choice to be? You know, and then it goes on and says, here are the steps we took, you know, as a program of recovery. You know, we admitted we were powerless and came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And then you make the decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God. So that later that afternoon, I was just sick and I was shaken and I was just such a bad place. I went into this bar and I needed to get well. I was just feeling so bad and so I went up to the bar and I ordered a drink. And so I sat there and I stared at that drink. And I tried to think it through and follow the process of where that drink would take me. Would it be one more night? Would I be drunk for a week? Would I be drunk for a month? Would I die? Would this one kill me? And so I sat there and I stared at that drink for half an hour. And the bartender said, "Are you going to drink that?" I said, "I don't know. Probably." And so I got up and I went outside. And I was going to get in the car and leave. And all I could think about was that drink. And so, you know, up to that point I thought, you know, I never had much luck at praying. You know, I would make deals, you know, get me out of this one. And so I never felt that I knew how to pray. I didn't know the right words. I thought if I knew the right words, you know, I would, you know, maybe God would listen. And so I was just kind of forced to pray. It was like, you know, I was standing at that, it's like standing on the edge of a cliff, you know, it's like either pray or jump. And so I just got down on my knees between those two cars. And I basically said, if you're not there, I'm screwed. And so I prayed. I prayed to God, please take the obsession. Remove the obsession that I have to drink and to kill myself. And the obsession to drink was like it was just lifted out of my soul. It was like I could feel it just being sucked out of me, and it's been it was 30 years ago last May, and I haven't had a desire to drink since. And I really don't know what else to say about that, other than the obsession to drink was just taken that night, and so that was my spiritual epiphany. That was proof to me that of the existence of God. There's just some things that I have a problem with, and I just that I'm not so much that I have a problem with, but that I'm just still trying to resolve, spiritually. But I never really felt. I mean, maybe I still don't. I never really felt like I really. I don't want to say that I don't fit in, but that I just believe it all. I have a big problem with. I read the Bible. I read it cover to cover, and so I kind of have that Old Testament is just, man, there's just too much going on in there. It's just hard to. The New Testament, all the Jesus, the life of Jesus and the teachings of Jesus, and and all that. It's just, it's something that's really, there's some beautiful stuff there, some really beautiful stuff, and how that relates to me, I'm just really not sure. I was an anthropology major in college for a while, and man, I have a problem with that. 4 million years of human evolution, and Christianity's 2,000 years old, and there's there's other religions. Buddhism is 10,000 years old, and Hinduism is, it's so old they don't even know where it started. So. And all of that, was related to me in anthropology by a who's, my professor was a ordained minister, and so he would talk about things, and he would never say this is how it is and this is how it should be. He would like propose, well, maybe this, and this is something for you to think about, and perhaps and it was always find your own way spiritually, and he always professed that there was some truths and some fallacies in all religions, and so I just really latched on to that. That just seemed to me to be really a direction that I would like to go. And so although I guess I would summarize that by saying, although I believe in in Christianity and the teachings of Jesus, Jesus being God in the flesh, I guess that's really something that I just ponder. And to accept Jesus Christ as my personal Savior, I don't know. I'm not going to act like I, can do that. I'd like to. It's like, someone said that, faith is a gift that I haven't yet to be given, and so I guess that's me. I look at other Christians in envy, and I've to believe in something like that, to believe in the Lord like that, with that conviction, man, I wish I had that. But it's not to say that I don't believe that there's a God. Yeah, absolutely. I pray. But I try not to make deals. I try. there's a difference in, praying to, get out of trouble and praying, and saying thanks, you know. So,
That's for sure.
so, that's just what you need to do. It's what I need to do. And just to give thanks, and don't pray just because somebody's listening and they're just sound good at saying grace at the table or whatever. It's to give thanks. Not only thanks for all the trouble I seem to make my way out of, but thanks for what I have. A big part of Christianity for me is being is being humble. I mean, humility is and I also heard someone say, if you want to know what humility is, tell your story and don't add anything to it and don't take anything away from it. And so if you can pray for your own, within your own reality, and not add anything to it or take anything away from it, pray for what needs to be prayed for, then it's prayer and earnest. So I pray. I don't know, Brandon, that's a hard one. I don't know. It's a hard one to answer. I have a lot of conflict there, and there's a lot, and there's even some guilt because, Jesus said, I don't know, I think it was in Matthew, he said to the apostles, and then who am I? He said that he was the Lord. He said that he was, that he was God, and that, and there's really no room for, objectivity there. I mean, it's like, so he either is or he isn't. So he's, he either is or he's a fake, or he's a liar, and, or he's crazy, he's a maniac. So, so that's the question. He either is or he either was or he wasn't. I don't. So I feel guilty when I doubt. When I doubt that he was or he wasn't. So that's hard. That's a hard. I don't know what it would take. What would it take for me to positively, absolutely, without doubt, accept Jesus Christ as the Lord? What would it take? Man, I can't answer that. Well, I would say don't quit asking those. Always be conscious of that question. Don't ever lose sight of that, because I think that's, I think that's a gift that Rhapsody has, and an awareness that they have that a lot of other churches don't have. That I see, that personal, that personal connection, and that personal outward connection. I mean, it's not, there's more there than just, keeping your little circle of, your little flock, and everybody else is kind of on the outside, on the perimeter. It seems like you keep reaching out and trying to pull those people in, and that's what's attractive for me. You know, I think about that story that you told about the guy that said, "Who is Jesus?" You know, I wonder if the pastor ever came up to him and said, "Who are you?"